Okay, so I also didn't film the intro for episode 2, and I realize that now that I'm editing it. Episode 2 goes over the enemy and the enemy designs of the frog monster and the elongated. If I split up episode 2 into 2 different parts because of how long it is, then I will film an intro for episode 3. Yeah, so it's different parts. Alright, so along with the map design, I was also responsible for the enemy design, AI, and the animation. This was kind of where the whole zombie theme kind of gets thrown away. And my goal with the monsters was to give them more of a distinct feel rather than just generic zombie monster, but still keeping like a zombie identity. However, that didn't really play out as planned, and we just ended up ditching the zombie theme entirely and just kept with the more unique monsters. So for the first enemy, I've already had this model already, which if you've seen my video, one of my previous animations, bodycam.mp4, you kind of know what it looks like if it wasn't obscure in just pitch black darkness. For those who don't know, it's this frog-looking model. I wouldn't call it a frog; it's more of the cursed being. But everything I do is a cursed being. I made it using Blender, and it was originally it was an attempt to sculpt my own face. However, I threw a tantrum, and then I just started sculpting random shit, and I ended up morphing these like stubs that I just like, oh, I can make legs out of this, and then I made a leg, and then I thought of Geodude, and then I was like, this is no longer a leg, this is an arm, but then it ended up being a leg again. So then I created little nipple arms, and then he was just like, oh, look at me, I have tiny little arms, and yeah, so it just accidentally turned into legs. And for the sake of clarity, I'm going to be calling this mob as Frog Monster, just so it's easier for the rest of it. So Frog Monster's original rig was pretty bad. And it was consistent of, I think it was consistent of like 5 different bones. No, 7 bones. One for the main head, which was the main bone, and then two for the legs, or 4 for the legs, like 2 for each leg, and then 4 for the hands, which was 9 bones. I'm bad at math. Please hire me. Basically, I would have to animate each one individually. There was no inverse kinematics and all that because I had no idea how to rig the thing. I was like, oh well, most of the tutorials are for human-based rigs, so I couldn't like follow some random tutorial. When I was reworking the model to work for the game, first of all, I had to scale down the amount of polygons. I used a modifier that helped reduce the amount of polygons because it was absurd how much stuff you had. It was pretty bad, and if I kept all those polygons in the game, and with the amount of times Frog Monster is used, I think it would have like crashed my computer and crashed anyone else's computer with the amount of polygons that was involved. So I scaled it down to like I scaled it down so it's a lot easier for the engine to handle, and then also easier for the rig to handle. And I used this I used this Blender add-on called Rigify. And what it does is that it basically just gives you the rig itself. You just match it up with the body parts that you want it to be like in charge of, and then you just say rig or rigify it, and then it just creates a rig magically for you. So really, I just took a human rig and I just matched all the body shapes and proportions with the frog monster, and I just hit rigify, and then bam, just like magic, it's right there. So really, frog monster is just a very deformed human skeleton, which is horrifying to think about. What did evolution do? So yeah, and then I could just fully move him. Look, he could do the little dance just like that. When creating the animations, I wanted my laptop shut down with my script. Did you die? What happened? Why are you making noise? When creating the animations, I wanted to be as immersive as possible. I wanted this game to be Game of the Year worthy. Jeff Keighley would go up and say Containment Labyrinth Run. I wanted to see that game on Game of the Year for 2021. So I did multiple animations. I did a walking animation that was pretty simple. I did a attacking animation, which was basically just this headbutt, and then I did a shot at animation, so when he was shot at, and then I did a dying animation for when he dies. Now for the running slash chasing animation, I had two versions. One was just a sped up version of the walking animation, which was way easier to do because I literally just moved the thing, like I moved the thing like just from 60 to 30. And the other one was this a lot more cartoonish version where his like legs were just going up and down like and yeah, so we ended up just doing the sped up version of the walking animation. And after all this, I just threw it into Unity. No problems whatsoever. That is a lie. So now I have to write the enemy AI, which was kind of a very messy process. Why did you shut down? What are you doing, computer? Is it complaining? Is it because I didn't update it? I haven't used a laptop in a while. So now I have to write the enemy AI, which was kind of messy. It was pretty messy. It was pretty bad. I started by watching this tutorial by this one YouTuber. I'll have the link right here. But basically, I realized that it needed this nav mesh add-on. I know the word add-on. So that I would need to install, and I was kind of hesitant on adding something to install because if I wanted to send it to my teammates, they would also have to end up installing the add-on, which kind of made things more complicated. Being the stubborn donkey I am, I didn't install it, but instead prompted for a more complicated route. So I eventually watched this other tutorial by this one YouTuber, I'll have him right there, which was a much rougher version of it, and it came with a few issues. The first issue is that the enemy looks at you at all times. Even when it's doing its random movement, it will just keep looking at you in your direction. And because it worked is that it kept looking for a specific game object, that game object being the player, and it just kept looking in the player's direction, and it just kept checking this circle. Next, it doesn't use the animator, so I had to use the very specific names of each animation for it to play, which was another downside on me that I just didn't think about. And third, gives a middle finger to Isaac Newton. This frog monster just ignores gravity entirely. And after spending an afternoon with it, here's what I had.
Okay, chat. Okay, guys. So I was working on the project, and I got the character working. I got this guy working, and I got the maps to work for the render. But then then I tested it out. So I entered play, and my teammate finished up the movement script, so I started using his movement script. And basically, the enemy like it follows you, right? Once you get in range, and then oh, there it is. I just keep flying. Can't stop it. Oh my god. He just keeps going up. And the thing is that I can move him also because he's like connected to me. So I think it's something in the ground check. But I just wanted to share this because this is kind of gold. I love this. I love this bug so much. Can we just keep this in the game? I want to keep this in the game. Oh, I should have just done it in that room. That room would have been good. But yeah, I need to escape. Let's try that again. Okay, so the thing is, I don't want him always staring at me. I'm gonna have to fix that later. So it's nice to see that the colliders are working. And there we go. Ah! Oh! Oh! I escaped. Oh my goodness, this guy's scary. Ah! You know what? This is great. Oh no! Ah! 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 Yeah, but no, my team's awesome.
And I decided, yeah, this is good. I'll fix it out later. Let's keep it.